Well, Tiger fans, Draftmas has been complete. What an absolute roller coaster of events tonight was. Firstly, thank you so much to everybody who joined us on the live stream. We appreciate the love and support. It was a huge amount of fun. We loved all the comments. We loved all the picks that we got. So let's do a quick recap of the players that we have bought in via the draft this year in what turned out, I think, to be a pretty incredible haul. So Sam Lawler, firstly, welcome to the Richmond Football Club. It was obviously going to be the number one choice for quite a while out, it seemed. Everyone seemed to have him pegged there to go. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for the Tigers next year, playing that midfield forward role. Maybe he starts a bit more forward, but very exciting to get him on board. Josh Smiley, next in to the club. He's a big unit, isn't he? I think he was showing a bit taller than Jack Rewalt. Look, I was a little bit sceptical about some of his highlights that I watched, but I fully trust the club with this selection. He was obviously touted as pick number one for a while for a reason. So in Blair and club that we trust, and I'm looking forward to seeing him bash through some packs and use his size to his advantage for the Tigers going forward. The next picks were very interesting ones. Taj Hotton was a very, very good pick, I felt. There was always an element of risk attached to Hotton. I made a video earlier about him. He's had the ACL injury earlier on in the season, but prior to that, he was touted and playing like a top 5 pick. He has got genuine talent and genuine ability playing through the midfield and half forward. One of his games before his injury, I think he had about 33 touches, 4 or 5 goals, a handful of tackles. He's got speed to burn, good agility. And look, I know ACL injuries are never nice, but our new head of fitness is actually a specialist with dealing with ACL recoveries. So you've got to kind of back the guy in that they've done their homework, they've done the right medical checks, and even though we won't see him for the first portion of the year, he's apparently already running, so we should see him right to go by the mid-season buy potentially if he's fit enough to get back in or to get into the side. It's a ballsy selection, but I like it, and that's one of the benefits of having the amount of picks that we had, is we can kind of afford to do small things like that. Next in was Jonty Fall, the key forward, who Grock had mentioned the Tigers have been linked to Jonty for quite some time. He probably went a little bit higher than some people had thought he would go, especially with Armstrong and Shanahan still on the board, who a lot of people were linking to us as the key forward options. But Jonty seemed to be the more well-rounded of the tall forwards in terms of his groundwork as well as his defensive work too, and takes a good aerial mark as well and loves the contested stuff as well. So I think a more complete player is Jonty Fall, and we definitely had that connection with him for a while. So I'm not against that one whatsoever, especially with how it panned out later on, which we'll get to shortly. The next pick that came through was Luke Traynor, another very, very good pick. And this one, it could arguably be the steal of the first round. On talent alone, he was one of the top 2 defenders along with Taru in terms of intercept marking and key defending traits. The concussion issues is what's making him slid down the draft order a little bit, but again, you've got to back the club in to have done their right checks with the medical side of things to ensure that they're going to get someone who's going to be able to have a footy career. And again, because we had a handful of picks, we can probably be a bit more exotic in what we look at and what we draft. But watching his interview post-draft, you can just see the passion, the emotion in his eyes and how excited he is to be at the Tigers. I think it's a great pick, and I really can't wait to see him play. I think he's going to be a super pick for us. Like I said, he and Taj Hotton were genuinely top 5 to top 8 prospects before certain things got in the way of that happening. So very excited for that one. The final player that we brought in for the night, Harry Armstrong. Could you believe Harry Armstrong slipping to that pick is unbelievable. I remember putting out a video a little while ago saying that Harry Armstrong I felt could be a sneaky chance to get to our pick 10. Never in my wildest dreams did I think he would slide that far, but that is a massive get. Now, I think it goes without saying that he's obviously slid for a reason, and the apparent reason is because of some character issues in some of the interviews. But you know what? As a club, you've got to back yourself to iron that out. These young kids are the best at what they do at their age group, so they're probably going to have a bit of swagger about them. Outside of that, the guy can kick a football. He's an extremely accurate kick and was touted as one of the best top key prospects in the draft. A lot of people thought the D's were going to take him at 5. That's how highly rated he is. Matthew Lloyd done a power of work with him, with his goal kicking, and I think it's a brilliant pick because picking up Traynor and Armstrong and Jonty Fall, we're covering a lot of our key deficiencies in the big man department for many years to come. So very, very good picks. And then with our last pick of the night, which is almost one of the best things we did on the draft, and we had a pretty good draft, we've managed to turn pick 27 and a future second rounder into North Melbourne's first round pick for next year, which could honestly be a top 5 or 6 pick. Now, I expect North Melbourne to improve incrementally next year. They're definitely going in the right direction. I don't think they're going to jump up as much as what they think they're going to jump up. And yeah, that's a staggering trade from North Melbourne. I would not be happy at all if I was a Kangaroos fan, because all along they were telling us that, well, when I say they, I mean their supporters, that if you want our future first, you're going to have to give up, pick 6 or a top 10 pick as well. We're not going to do it for anything less. And I know they got Finn O'Sullivan, and that's going to be a good get for them. But to give up their future first, which is, in all likelihood, a top 5 or 6 pick, is just phenomenal. So, Blair Hartley, I tell you what, we're very, very close to building a statue of you out the front of Putton Road. That is an extraordinary effort. And again, I want to give a shout out to Chris Toshe as well, who was our recruiting manager for this year and sadly passed away in trade week to cancer. Like we've said on previous shows, make no mistake, Toshe had his fingerprints all over this draft, and the recruiting team have done a fantastic job to do this in his honour, and I think he would be looking down extremely proud of the plays they have pulled for us tonight. So well done to Blair, well done to the recruiting team, and Chris Toshe as well. Special shout out to he and his family, and in what was a very special night for the Richmond Footy Club. And we've still got one pick for tomorrow. Maybe Alex Dodson take the best ruck available potentially, or we could trade it for another future first. We'll wait and see what happens there. But very keen to see what you guys all think in the comments below. Let me know, are you happy with the Tigers haul? What would you have done different? I can't imagine there being too many negative comments on this one. This is an absolute belter.